threshold of spring, we begin to notice a quiet awakening within. The intentions that we set during the long days of winter have lain dormant. But now we see the first shoots of seed planting, pushing through, and the forest animals constructing new habitats. We realize that the dawn of something new is upon us. Spring is traditionally considered the season of hope and a renewal when encouraged by the increase of light and warmth. We find the energy to take the necessary action that can push the tentative new beginning into full awakening. Engaged with nature provides not only physical benefits, but also nurtures our spirits. It awakens our senses, filling us with a sense of awe and wonder. As we pause and reflect in the presence of nature's beauty, we can deepen our connection to the world around us and find solace within ourselves. There are so many benefits to partnering with the spirits of nature, those energy forces of nature in our conscious awareness. When we enter into conscious relationships with the seen and unseen beings all around us, particularly in nature, miracles begin to unfold in our lives. It's our connection with nature that can help us broaden our horizons and open our hearts and connectedness as a sacred totality of all that is. Ooh, welcome back, everyone. Hey, it's good to see everybody. Welcome to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway. Welcome, citizens of the universe. It's good to have you with us tonight. Boy, I hope you guys enjoyed the break and the eclipse and all that good stuff. That was kind of fascinating, wasn't it? Kind of fun.
Yeah.
Hope you all are doing well. Let's go ahead and say hello to everybody in chat. Hi, Mary Wins. Good to have you with us. Always a pleasure to see you. Hey there, Miss Chloe. I got to plug this for Miss Chloe. I don't know if you guys have seen her video, but she had this fire quartz that she showed, and I said, "Me want." And Lori, it's really, really cool. So, Chloe,
like she needed another wand, you know?
Oh, yes, I did, and I'm real pleased about it. But gosh darn, is that a wand or what? And this
Beautiful.
is starburst, kind of cool.
Wow.
So beautiful. Yeah. So thank you, Chloe. Thank you for making that a reality for me. I appreciate it. She got it right to me, and that was awesome. So thank you for that.
You got some turtles too, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a couple turtles as well. I gave those to Mom. She really liked those. Let's see. Hi, Loretta Enigma. Good to see you as well. Hi, Lee. Good to see you. Hi, Charles. How are you?
Charles.
Oh, I've got something for you, Charles. Keep this in mind. An atheist has no invisible means of support.
Play on words.
Yeah, full of it abstract. Good to see you. How are you? Good. Yeah. All right, cool. Looks like we have who we have here for now. And then those that are watching and not in chat, we appreciate you as well. Tonight, we are talking about awakening and partnering with nature spirits. And Teresa has put a lot of work and a lot of energy into this. And I'm going to go ahead and let her take the lead on this tonight.
Sure.
And hope you guys all enjoy this. But yes, nature really is an amazing force, and we are partnered with nature and the earth. So Teresa D'Antone is with us tonight. Sophia is with us. Dalibor Suki and Grandpa Brian. Always a pleasure having you guys on the show. Thank you for being here. Hello, Lucky Stone. Good to see you as well. Yes. Oh, and also, Sophia, I'm not sure if you're prepared tonight to do a card or two on the topic. That would be wonderful. Okay, yes. Yeah, nature oracle cards, Charles says.
You got mine behind me, all my nature cards.
Excellent. Yeah. Should be good.
Yep.
Be good.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yes, wonderful. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Miss Teresa.
Okay, well, greetings, everyone. I'll do my best. I was excited I've been
Hmm.
excited for several weeks about this topic. We actually started talking about it almost a month ago, and Sophia and I kicked it around a little bit, and me and Lori, and so it's exciting. um, I think the reason it's so exciting to me is I've always bonded with nature. I've always, even as a child, just wanted and preferred to be in nature. And we've done a few shows. They're in our YouTube description,
Hmm.
um, where we got together and talked about trees and the underground network, communication network the trees have, how they nurture and take care of each other, how they help adopt each other's children, and they will actually move and reroot themselves too to get to richer soil. Some trees actually move subtly over time. And they share a lot of characteristics and traits with humans, not to mention 50% of our DNA. But they also um, are structured like humans with limbs, trunks, roots,
Hmm.
and they have a crown, just like we do. So our fibers in our body function like a tree. And then we did one where we talked in that same video. I think we also talked about how plants will sing songs. They have frequencies. They have sound. We just don't hear them like we used to way back when.
Hmm.
But if you hook them up to electronic devices like sound boards, and I'm sure you've all heard the mushroom songs and the mushroom singing and different plants, and they're all very different and unique in their frequencies, but they communicate with one another as well. So there's a lot to be said in the animal kingdom as well. We share uh, an enormous amount of DNA with not only the chimpanzees, but gets this, a head of lettuce, a banana, ants, worms. So the DNA is repeated. It's the pattern of all of nature. So nature created us. And I do have memories. I don't know about the rest of you. It'll be interesting to hear your stories, but I do have some memories of pre incarnating as plants, as trees, as sea creatures, as land animals, long before I incarnated as a human. So I know that
We
sounds
talked.
fantastical, but I do
We
have
did
that.
talk. We talked about this before, and when I
Hmm.
was first getting started with my guide, it was really interesting to know that we had been everything physically you could be.
Yeah,
As marine life, and then, well, even before that, bacteria, the air, the wind,
yeah,
everything, absolutely
I
everything
would
before you
say
become human.
starting with the photon.
There you go. I mean, you could
yeah,
go
yeah,
just right to that, and
yeah,
then once you graduated through all of those
yeah,
living beings, then you become human, which you graduate to human. And that's
yeah,
where we're at now, and then we just kinda keep redoing this for a while, huh? Till we're done
yeah.
doing this.
Well, early on too, and there's a lot of folks that will talk about this. Different channelers will talk about this, and it depends on who they are. Like Bashar's one of them,
Mhm,
and then you have downloads that Steiner got, Rudolf
mhm,
Steiner.
mhm.
You have Blavatsky. You have numerous people throughout the ages have had people that they've regressed or people that they've talked to, and there was a time in another dimension, perhaps, or another epoch, however you want to view this. Um, there was a time when human consciousness was so deeply tuned in because we were still very much hybrids of our own spiritual selves coming into, for the very first time, all these different forms in our early human forms. And so we could see things that people don't see today. We could see things and perceive things, these energies, these frequencies were projections of different aspects of our own character and our own selves so that we could learn how to exist in the material world. And we projected a lot of that out into our from our consciousness into the matter and interacted with these different energy forms and gave them characteristics. And we perceived beings when we looked at a star or we looked at a planet. They were overlaid with this graphic, if you will, this picture of a god or a goddess. or some other type of creature. It could have been a dragon or a lizard or a fish, but they gave meaning to every one of these energies, and they were connecting with them and communicating with them on a regular basis. So they interacted with things very easy, very simply. Now, whether it was through some type of language system or telepathy, I don't know. I don't remember that much detail. But I know now we can still connect with them telepathically. So, one of the reasons of putting this show together tonight was, even though we have evolved and further separated from spirit because we became more individualized, we were supposed to be in the matter, there are many of us that are reawakening to the truth of who we are as divine spiritual beings, of part of creation. And we're also remembering our connections to nature, not just by grounding ourselves, going out, sticking our feet in the water and hugging a tree, but we can actually utilize the energy frequencies of our animal brothers and sisters, our minerals, crystals, rocks, all of nature that is around us, that is such an integral part of our physicalness as humans, as a gateway. I told Lori it's like a gateway drug.
Yeah.
It was for me because I never would have been open to the hierarchies.
Mm-hmm.
I never would have perceived angelic beings to be what they are. I never would have talked to my higher self or experienced these other dimensional beings on a cosmic level, any of the
Mm-hmm.
hierarchies, had I not first connected with nature, elementals,
And I'm
the
the opposite.
fairies. Yeah, you're the opposite. So some people go one way, some people go the other.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was a gateway that prepared me psychologically and holistically to be able to accept the very concept of connecting at higher spiritual level. Because you see, as raised as a Catholic, that was a big no, you didn't do that kind of stuff. The only thing you knew were angels and saints, and you could pray to them, but you couldn't see them, talk to them, hear them, let alone interact with them. And if you did, well, it was considered a miracle, and they put you through the rigorous test to find out if you were lying or not, or to find out
Wow.
if you had a psychological disability.
How
So
stifling.
doing it wasn't very comfortable, but it was a lot more comfortable for me to take a walk in the woods and hear the thoughts of the animals around me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't personally connect to a lot of the elementals, but I do have a connection with fairies and gnomes. I do experience them. I just don't use them as guides or teachers, but I'm sure they do have a lot of, um, I hear they have a lot of wisdom to offer people. But I do communicate with the animal kingdom. I do. And they are not just spirits that appear to me when I need something to learn in specifically, but I can actually invoke them. I have actually um, been blessed with connections. I've asked them to be my guides. And so I have about 9 of these spirit animals that have become totems to me. And they walk with me, and they're my guides, and they're teachers, and they're friends. Now, I haven't been tapping into them as great a frequency as I used to, because I'm now connecting to some cosmic energies, some angelics. And what you're going to find out tonight is there are commonalities between these different elementals, the animals, and the angelic hierarchies. Whatever it is you connect to, you will find an energy like quality within each one of those areas. So there are synchronicities, and we'll show you that with the charts that Lori has loaded up. But so that's kind of where we're going with this. Is like, if you want to connect, and I've had a lot of people, Sophia and Brian, I'm sure you have too, possibly even Dalibor, that have said, "Hey, am I not spiritually awakened because I don't talk to any spirits? No. Am I not progressing because I just can't see things in my dreams? I don't get visions, and I don't get dreams, and how do I find a spirit animal, and how do I make, how do I connect spiritually? I'm having a hard time with this. But there's one thing that as a human you can count on, and this is a fact, Jack. We share so much DNA and share so much synchronicity with nature
Mm-hmm.
that it might come to you more easily, more naturally to start there. start connecting to the trees, start connecting to the animals, and you'll see tonight how that's possible. And once that opens you up and frees you up, it becomes second nature. And then you can start opening up to other spirits. But do you have to open up to them? Do you have to connect the way some of us do to be spiritually awake? No. It's just nice to know you're not alone.
Right.
It's nice to know you've got somebody that can help you, counsel you, and guide you because they've lived many lifetimes. So that being said, that kicks it off for you. And I don't know if you wanted to start with, I wanted to start with we just discussed some plants and trees, and go see our other videos where we talked about that. But I thought we would start with the animal guides, just to get, but let's start with the elements of Earth itself. Humans are composed of all of these elements, but in alchemy, they have the 4 basic elements. So you want to go there first, Lori? And discuss
Yeah, I
the
do.
elements?
I really do. So
Yeah.
the alchemical symbols, I'm going to put these up, and I'm also, as these are going to be posted up here and you're looking at it,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you exactly what the human body chemicals consist of, and there's 17 of them. So here's the alchemical chart, and these are the symbols. And you can see the moon, the sun, the earth, Mercury, Venus, Mars. The planets are on the left. And then you've got, fire, water, air, earth, and so on and so forth. The human body is made up of oxygen, hydrogen, potassium, phosphorus, nucleic acid, lipids, carbon, calcium, sodium, chlorine, fluorine, proteins, nitrogen, sulfur, magnesium, carbohydrates, and iron. That's what makes up the human body. And as you can see in the alchemical symbols, those are many of these here. So we are sharing the same chemical makeup as planets, as the earth and the air, and all of these contribute to the physical part of it. So you've got the higher realms, the etheric spirit body, then you have the grounding of the earth, and then you have, this is the third, which completes the triangle, because you've got the chemical makeup for it being a physical body, and then you have the etheric, and then the earth. So all this brings everything together. So before you're even a human being, your consciousness creates the thought of these things, and this is the physical makeup that brings you into the physical matter.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting when you think about it.
Yeah, it
Pulls
is.
it all together, doesn't it?
Do you have the symbol for the earth?
Yes, I do. There you go.
Now, in doing this research, folks, I was a little bit behind some of you with this stuff. I I tended to learn about these things individually, like birth signs, and I learned about certain activities that we can do to connect with Earth. But when you take a look at it, there are there's Earth represents winter, right? And it's a northward direction. Each one of these elements of earth, fire, water, air, they all have a direction. They all have a specific group of zodiac signs that are typically aligned with them. In this case, it's Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. Earth is known for physical movement and sensations, receptive energy. It embodies the desire to work with physical matter, reshaping the world we are in with knowledge and wisdom so as to leave things of enduring value. It's the most dense of all of the elements, or of all of the 4 basic elements. Spirits that you will find that you can't necessarily see until you're more connected with them, and you might catch glimpses of them. They're known as elders, ancient and powerful gnomes, fairies, elves, and troll spirits. Gnomes, fairies, elves, and trolls. And along with those go Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Numerology numbers 2, 5, and 8. It affects them the most. If your birth number is 2, 5, or 8, makes it a person determined and consistent. cosmic energy connection, Archangel Uriel. So the Archangel Uriel represents the solid element of earth and nature. So you can connect with, say, the gnomes, the fairies, and the elves, and the archangels, and they all work together in unison to help you and guide you. So it depends on what you want to connect with. There's also
Yeah,
urus, right?
when I saw that graphic, I was like, that describes me to a T, because I was born under an earth sign, Virgo,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
all of those things are things that I definitely resonate with.
Yeah. And if anybody wants a copy of any of this, just let me know. I'll send it to you or email it to you. But urus, am I saying that right? Is a represents strength of the great roaming oxen until captured and domesticated. That's a Nordic tradition. Urus.
Uruz is the wild Urok. It was not domesticated. Fehu is connected to the
Fehu.
domesticated cattle. Uruz is very primal, and it was now extinct, but was used as a rite of passage for a warrior. That's where the horns came from. Is
Right.
the Urok.
Yeah. So that's all tied into this earth. So you can, it doesn't matter what tradition you honor or what you feel more comfortable. You can either combine them all together and utilize them as your guides, or you have various different ways to come at this and connect with those spirits. The next one is air. It's typically gray and bluish color, but gray. And again, you've got your directions and your time of day. Here you have Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius, the water sign. Swords is a tarot energy.
Mm-hmm.
Breathing deeply, flying a kite, enjoying wind, flying a plane, going to high places. Those are all of your activities, socializing, communicating. This is how you can start connecting to the spirits of the air. They typically represent intelligence, speaking and healing, planning, openness, memory, teaching and learning. Crystals associated with air: amethyst, labradite, clear quartz, citrine, sodalite, tiger's eye, and more. There are plants and herbs associated with air that you can plant in your gardens: beans and lentils, eggplant, cauliflower, green tea, green apples, and so on. The list goes: spinach, broccoli, and so forth.
Lavender.
Oh, lavender, yeah, yeah. The spirit beings that are invisible that you can start to connect to and start to get a feel for are the sylphs or sylphids. They come in the form of butterflies and dragonflies, from what I understand. In numerology, your birth sign 3, 5, and 7, air, is very heavy in your element. Intellect, creativity, and communication. So you might find some synchronicity with contacting the elements of air.
Excuse me, T. Sophia's got a quick question.
Yep.
When it comes to the color, at least that I work with and associate with air, it's yellow. That's really the first time I've seen silver come up. Silver is generally connected to moon energy. But yeah, it has yellow on there. White, silver, yellow.
This has a gray, on the how they did
the
it on
grays,
the
the grays, the silvers, and the light, like silvery blues. For
Mhm.
me, that's connected to moon energy. But like what you were saying a little bit ago, it's a process. This is a lot of information to take in, and if it is helping you evolve and self-develop,
Right.
just use
Yep.
what you can and keep going.
That's
But
right.
yeah, I had to throw that out there.
No, it makes sense. That's why I was just fascinated of the synchronicity between
Yeah.
the different cultures and the different practices. Like
Mhm.
Raphael, if I was going to connect, Archangel Raphael is affiliated with air, represents the
Mhm.
element of air in nature,
East.
specializes in helping with the healing the body and the
Mhm.
mind, breaking free from unhealthy burdens that are blocking your progress in
That's
life,
the mind.
inspiring you to lift your soul. Huh?
That's the
The
mind.
mind.
The
Mm-hmm.
mind, the
Mhm.
body follows the mind. If you've
Mm-hmm.
lost control of your mind, the rest of your instrument's going to follow suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. So you can connect with different elements of air, and you can connect with the angelic. He gives assistance in studying, working, music, mathematics, medicine, um, and helps realize that everything is interconnected and nothing remains separate. Now, see if I get this one right, Sophia. And Sus, Sus, the rule of the
Anzus.
All Father, Ansus, the
It
rule of
means
the All Father God, Odin.
breath. Well, Odin isn't spelled correctly. Well, you can spell Odin many a ways, but Odin or double N, but
Mm-hmm.
is Anzus, and that's the Anglo-Saxon and Proto-Germanic interpretation. But there's many ways to say Anzus, but that's one of them. Means breath.
Ansus. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yes, breath, God's breath or spirit. That's air.
Hmm.
The Holy Spirit in Christianity is related to air, and
Odin
the
is
Christos spirit. Yeah.
Odin is the one that breathed spirit into the ashen elm and the Proto-Germanic interpretations of the creation story. So that's where a lot of that comes from as well, and why
Hmm.
that rune is connected to Odin.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
What
Yes,
were the
definitely.
planets associated with water, Lori? I forgot the planets that were associated with water. I think it's a west direction
Yes.
because she mentioned. Oh, here we go. Gemini, Mercury, Venus, and Uranus. Uranus are all connected to air.
Ish. Ish.
Well,
That's where it gets to be gray area because the
yeah.
planets they don't really have that kind of connection. If you want to connect a celestial body to water, I would say the moon would
Mm-hmm.
be one,
Well,
but it
there
could
was a
be.
time when humans in their consciousness would look up and they would see Venus, and they would say that's a body. That's a body. Earth is a body, just as we are bodies. They have an energy and a consciousness and an awareness, and so they would see Venus and project the goddess Venus onto that planet. And so when they looked up into the sky, they saw the goddess. They
Yeah,
didn't
but
just see a ball of mass. They
mhm.
associated an energy with it. So that's all this is saying, is that some planetary bodies are connected with Earth in a certain way. And so those bodies, those planetary bodies, have a lot of the same attributes of their gods and goddesses, which I can't name them all right now, but there's a lot of gods and goddesses and archangels associated with different planets that are connected to our four elements: earth, wind, air, or earth, fire, water, and air.
Yeah, but of all
So
the
anyway,
planets, I would associate the Earth most with water because it's the only planet that's covered with 75% water.
yeah, if you're looking at it from a physical perspective, yes.
Yeah. Hmm.
I'm looking at this
Yeah,
from
the
more
four
of an
giant
etheric.
planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, are thought to contain enormous quantities of the wet stuff. Their
Yeah,
moons have the ring and substantial water and ice as well. So it's part of
there
the
you go.
fabric of the universe.
The
Hmm.
next one is hang on a second. The next one is water.
Mhm.
And this one on this chart comes up more blue, but it's typically blues and greens: blue, aqua, silver, turquoise, as Sophia was saying, silver, turquoise, teal, iridescent colors, mostly connected with autumn for some reason. I don't know why. I didn't
Hmm.
get a chance to go that
It's the
far.
wheel of the year.
Hmm.
Okay. Its direction is a westward direction. Now, you know, there's animal spirit guides, totem guides that the Native Americans use in the indigenous populations, where they have different spirit animals associated with different directions as well. Um, but this is cleansing, purification, dreams, emotions, psychic abilities, movement, mutability, fluidity, healing. We're all familiar with that, right?
Mhm.
Aquamarine, stone, fluorite, lapis lazuli, moonstone, and so forth. Again, I'm not trying to hit them all. I'm just trying to give you a feel.
That.
Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio.
Mhm.
Water is associated with the moon, so it has a feminine energy. It's the receptive.
Mm-hmm.
It represents
The
birth
yin.
and creation, the
Mhm.
yin
Mm-hmm.
of the yang. So you can see the water activities. There's many water activities that will help you connect with the spirits here. And it's interesting. You got lettuce here. Like I said, lettuce. They came out with a report back in 2016 that they thought that lettuce and human DNA was a 99% match, which was a little bit misleading. It's more like 44%, but everybody's like, "What? We're lettuce. We're walking around. We're
Isn't
human
that
head.
lettucing us on a
We're
little bit?
yeah."
Well, at least at least make it lettuce and tomato, right? Like
Yeah.
lettuce.
Well, I mean, it's cold and it's wet. And then they said we're related to bananas, and I said, okay, that's it. I can't.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, so the nature spirits associated with water are the mermaids,
Mm-hmm.
the undines. I hope I'm saying that right. Undines,
Undies.
undines, Undines,
Hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
nereids, 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 water nymphs, water goblin spirits. So those I've never connected with any of those, but they are the feminine moon receptive energy. Your birth signs affiliated to those are Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, right? Planets connections other than the moon are also Neptune and Pluto. The cosmic energy connection is Archangel Gabriel, which I connect to all the time. Specializes in helping with understanding messages from source. Um, Gabriel can help you to reflect on your thoughts and emotions so that you can learn spiritual lessons from your thoughts and emotions. Anyway, you can look that up later. And I have La Goose, La Goose,
Lagos.
La Goose.
Lagos
Emotional quality of the moon, right?
means water
Feminine intuition,
flowing lake.
harmony. Uh-huh. Waters, oceans, and lakes. Connected to, now, can you pronounce this? Nord, Njord, god of the
Njord.
sea.
Njord. Mm-hmm.
Jord, god of the
Njord.
sea. The other Nordic spirit associated with that would be the Norse god known for his role as king of the sea,
Aegir.
Aegir.
Aegir
Aegir.
and his wife
Aegir.
Ran. There's the deep water gods.
Mm-hmm. So they're like Neptune. Their
Ish.
energy would be like Neptune, right? Known for throwing frequent parties for the other gods where his guests were plied with copious amounts of strong beer.
This is true. This is
Lots of
true.
mead.
That is Lokisana is in the Poetic Edda. That is where you find that story. The Lokisana is in the Hall of Aegir. Mhm.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's where I came up with that little joke.
I see what you did there.
Clever girl.
Maybe I'll tell it later. All right. So that gives you an idea of it. Isn't this fascinating? How, I knew once I started putting it all together and recognizing the patterns, I realized that there's just different ways of projecting of how our consciousness perceives things and how we vibrate and resonate with these things. Go ahead, Sophia.
When I work with the elements, and far as like meditation, incorporating it into it's my daily life.
Yeah.
It's a form of self-care for many decades, but I start most of the time in the east with swords because swords is the fastest. Okay, then I move to the south, which is wands, which is fire. Then I move to the west, which is cups, which is water. Then I move to north, which is pentacles and earth energy. So having that established when you're talking about patterns, because there's a lot out there and
Mm-hmm.
different books approach it different ways, but I like started going east, south, west, north, because you go from the fastest and most quickest energy is always going to be air, always. And then working with fire, creation, destruction, courage, passion, and then yes, That's energy of the south. And you'll see when you're looking at these slides, if someone rewatches it, when you have air, there's the spring. You have fire, there's summer. You have water, that's the fall. And you have
Mm-hmm.
earth, which is the winter.
Right.
So being aware of the polarities, because you have the upside triangle, which is projective energy, which is air and fire, and then you have the receptive energy, which is the inverted triangle,
Water.
which is
Mm-hmm.
water and earth. Yes, it's very subtle. There are a lot of connections, but once I had the elements firmly established and under my metaphysical belt, if you will, that's when, for me, the synchronicities start to step forward. It's like, aha, aha, I see what you're doing there. Because when you work with the elements, at least for me, it's a communion. It's a relationship.
Yes, it is.
If you're going to be
Yep.
or have the desire to interact on a metaphysical plane, developing a healthy relationship, spending time, meditating in that direction. If I want to connect with thought and intention, I'm going to be looking to the east because that's where you
Mm-hmm.
find it.
Uh-huh.
So, and following suit and kind. But anyway, I just had to kind
Well,
of.
no,
That
you
out
know
there.
what you just described is very similar to how I started out with the Cherokees who taught me the totem spirit animal directions. We started out with east, south, west, north, above, below, within, and side to side. So we have 9 of these animals, energies.
Right.
And they come to us and help choose us, and maybe we'll stay around long enough to be our guides and be part of our totem construct. And so I would go out into the woods and I would concentrate on the east. If that's the energy that I was trying to bring in through that animal, and I would connect with that animal spirit. What I didn't know were all these other connections at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's very powerful. Once you understand all the different kind of connections, you can still choose to connect with whatever you want,
Right.
whatever helps you, whatever you vibe with. But if you can combine some of those energies too, I can talk to my angel now that represents that direction and that energy of what I'm trying to accomplish. Now, the fire angels are Nathaniel and Michael,
Right.
and they have the dragons and salamanders are the actual spiritual elementals that you can connect with. Nick isn't here tonight. I was kind of hoping he would be, because Nick connects with the dragon spirit guide energy. And they are creation, destruction, projective energy, dominance, but they're also, on the flip side of that, is passion, creativity, manifestation, and abundance. Nathaniel is the angel of manifestation. Okay. But they're all fire symbols representing courage, imagination. Anything can be done. They think the sky, there's no limits. Anything's possible. This is
Our
Lori.
limits
Lori's
are
a
in our
fire.
minds. Our
Mm-hmm.
limits are in our minds.
Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
Willpower to master all aspects of your own will and your willpower.
Action.
Courage and imagination. Fire is intense, expansive, and constantly seeking to overcome anything that limits its self-expression. That'd be her. Number 9 comes under the fire element. Okay, number 9.
Mm-hmm.
People with this number in their birth chart are influenced by fire element that makes them overwhelmingly enthusiastic as well as motivating. Thus, absence of a 9 in one's chart indicates the absence of fire. So you might want to use the fire energies to reconnect.
Balance yourself.
You can balance.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Planets, Mars, Sun. So Aries, Mars, Leo, Sun, Sagittarius, Jupiter. Those
Mhm.
are some of those connections there. And Michael and Nathaniel. Let's see. Getting down here to Fehu. Fehu.
Very good.
The word means there's your cattle that you were talking about, which represents wealth and material possessions.
Yep.
Mhm.
The rune stone of the passionate goddess Freya, known as the goddess of love, fertility, beauty, sex, war, death, gold, magic. She rides a chariot pulled by 2 cats,
Given to her by Thor.
That's it.
given to her by Thor. Also rides a boar, a wild boar, where there's magic and wears a magic cloak. Suna is also a goddess of sun and daylight,
Mhm.
affiliated with fire. Radiant beauty, symbol of warmth, light, and growth, and is celebrated for bringing light and life to the world.
Right.
So, what did the Norse gods Loki and Aegir say to the fire archangels Michael and Nathaniel?
Oh, Loki.
Break out the mead and party down, guys, because the fire dragons are carrying you boys off to party with Freya and Suna.
Oh, boy.
Those hotties are going to reignite your flames and raise your vibes.
Or
Right?
rip your head off and remind you your place.
Yeah, watch
Fafo,
yourself.
people, Fafo.
They
Okay.
will. Let's see. There's another one, Aegir, Aegir, a Norse god who's probably best known. Didn't we cover him?
Yep.
The party guy. So
Mhm.
water and fire are the polar opposites. They're the yin and the yang. They're the moon and the sun. Okay? One is a receiver, one is the transmitter. So you have those energies going on there between those gods and gods. Yeah, go ahead, Sophia.
Go ahead, Sophia.
So, can you bring Mary Wins? Okay.
Yep.
So, Loki and Odin are blood brothers. They took a blood oath, which in my tradition is huge. And yes, Marvel did F it up. Loki and Thor are not brothers, although you will find many tales to where they are together. They're not related at all. So thanks, Marvel. Awesome movie. Wrong information. Thank you for bringing that up, Mary.
Yeah, Mary. Thanks a lot.
And I'll
Good
finish
job.
this with, because we want to get to the rest of the panel here.
Yes.
I want to finish this up with something Steiner once said, and this was surprising. The psychological qualities of elemental beings describe human beings as well. The difference is that the elemental beings have been striving to understand nature for billions and billions of years. The kings and queens of the elements, we might consider then to have mastered various secrets of nature as well as aspects of will, love, harmony, and inner silence that we as a race of humans have only begun to explore. In this sense, the elementals are our teachers. They stand ready in any moment to speak with us and to share their secrets, if only we will still our minds and sharpen our senses so that we can perceive their presence.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty profound for back in his time to be talking in that way. But you see, he was very much aware of pagan practices and non-traditional shamanic practices. He did a lot of studying and spoke to a lot of people and connected with a lot of spirits. So anyway, I think that pretty much. And then, Sophia, you were going to talk about how you connect directly with Earth Mother energy, but I wanted to give the guys here a chance to come around and answer some of these questions
Heck
that
yeah,
Lori.
let's do it, kids.
Some of the questions here. Okay, I'm getting to the. I got to find them in this
I've
little
got it.
document of mine.
Yeah,
Thank you, dear.
I've got it right here. Do you have any
ahead.
stories about connecting with the spirits of plants and trees?
Oh,
We
yeah.
can start with you, Dalibor.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that anybody who brews wine connects with a plant spirit because you're using a mycoplasm, basically, which is a seemingly single-celled organism, right? Except that when you add it to the medium, to the juice, the fruit juice, it changes into a multicellular being, except that all the cells are the same. And technically speaking, you could argue the fact that bacteria, which is what this is, are immortal because they don't die and they don't reproduce like we do. In other words, they don't die. They just divide into two, and then each of those divides into two, and so on and so on. And when they're in a dormant state, they're just that. They're just dormant. So, you know, society uses these types of elementals, for want of a better word, or plant beings for a variety of purposes, anywhere from making cheese to making wine to making beer to making bread, and a whole host of pharmaceuticals that are made using microorganisms, some of which may be genetically modified, some not. See, the difference between this type of elemental is the fact that every single one of the cells that make up the human body has the same senses and the same capabilities as the human body. Every single cell can see,
Mm-hmm.
hear, has anomalous cognition, can think, can reason, has memory, can locomote, can move around, and so on and so forth. Except that, you know, in the case of like a single celled organism like a yeast cell, it behaves totally differently in that, like I said, all the cells are the same, and those cells are, for all intents and purposes, immortal. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you really cannot kill a yeast cell. You cannot kill off yeast cells as a species, because there's even if you kill that one batch, there's going to be, you know, at least one yeast cell left, and that's going to multiply into two, and that's going
There's
to
more
multiply into
spores.
four.
Hmm.
Always,
Yeah.
always. So it's in a sense more immortal than our physical bodies are. And since all plants, we know that all plants, and that's been proven by research at Duke University and at Princeton University, by various famous scientists like uh, Ingo Swann. Um, the names don't come to my mind right now, but it was covered very well in the movie and the book, The Secret Life of Plants,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
where they proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that every single plant does experience anomalous cognition, things like telepathy, things like precognition, uh, the whole bit. They can react to like brain waves of humans. They can react to intention. Uh, and all of this is like proven beyond a shadow of a doubt in scientific papers, nonetheless. So, in other words, people interact with these elementals whether or not they realize that they are elementals.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you were to consider it
Ah,
a being, right? That a
yeah.
being came and changed my water into wine or my grape juice into wine, you know, in the Bible, one such being would be Jesus, right? Except that
Yes.
in real life, it's a different type of being. It's a being called a yeast cell, right? A mycoplasm.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So that's kind of my take on the plant aspect.
Cool.
Cool.
How about you, Brian? Do you have any stories about connecting with the spirits of plants and trees?
I do every weekend for the past 17 years. I've almost come down here to the cabin every single weekend,
Yeah, I
and
could see why.
I'm up in the woods every single
Hmm.
weekend.
Hmm.
Yep.
Some of my best meditations have happened on the other side of the lake, where I'm sitting right by the woods. I have the water flowing out of the pond. You can hear the water flowing. You're connecting with everything. You're just relaxing, and if you allow it, they will talk to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
You
been
know,
my experience too, real quick, and I'll share with what I
yeah.
have. Um, we have a tree in the backyard that's over 40 years. It's a pine tree. It's huge, massive, very strong, solid tree. And at the base of this tree is a big granite ball of rock. And I go out and I sit on that rock and I connect to that tree. And that's where I do my meditation. So I'm in the sun, I'm on the rock, so I'm super grounded. And then I just pull in that energy from the tree. And the one thing that the tree told me was, you're the first human that's ever connected with me.
Hmm.
And I thought that was fascinating.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But it is a very interesting sensation. It's very strong, supportive, and loving energy. And I tell you, sometimes I don't even want to get up off of that rock because it just feels so good. And then I always, at the end of the meditation, I like to turn around and just give the tree a big hug and show it, some human love there. And That's how I like to connect to spirits and
Actually, your
trees.
tree is a joy guide almost for you because
Yeah,
Juru, she named it.
Jaru.
It identified itself as Jaru,
Mm-hmm.
which immediately got the feeling of that creature from Star Wars. The
Yeah, I call him Jaruru.
yeah, Juru,
Oh
Ruru,
yeah, yeah.
and so it's got a very humorous quality or aspect to it,
Mm-hmm. Has a
almost like
sense of
a
humor.
Loki, almost
Mm-hmm.
like a Loki
Yep.
type of humor. So I thought, or a monkey. My spirit guide animal, my joy guide is a monkey.
I could
So
see that.
yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much any kind of monkey I'll connect with immediately. But anyway, getting back to what Brian was just saying, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's where Rudolf Steiner was coming from with his
Mm-hmm.
model of biodynamic farming, was going beyond the organic, and that is connecting with the spirits of nature as you're doing this thoughtful, conscious planning. So you're connecting with the cosmos. You're following the energy patterns of what's going on in the astronomy, but you're also connecting with different earth energies and spirits. And when we had that show on biodynamic farming, and some people came in and were like, "Oh, poo poo on all that. That's just too much work. It's not necessary. You don't need to do all that to grow a decent crop." That's not the point. The point of biodynamic farming was to create a community that was consciously aware of its connections as a community to what the style of life and quality of life in terms of morals, values, um, and kindness, generosity of spirit, all of the things and everything that they do is through a ritual where you have these patterns, as Sophia was just describing, as the indigenous people have with their totem practices. It's to honor the earth, to put back into the earth what you've taken out of the earth, and to have that connection with Mother and that respect, but also to follow the process in a certain way. Now, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. Nobody says you have to do that. Yeah, you could throw a bunch of leaves down and mulch, and yeah. But I tell you, the fruits and vegetables that are being grown by these biodynamic farmers who are following this process are some of the most gorgeous, richest, best tasting, big portions of fruits and vegetables you've ever seen because of the energies and the way they're working with those energies.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in.
Awesome. For Sophia, how about you? Do you have any stories about connecting with the spirits of plants and trees?
I have a really quick story I'd like to throw in there.
All right.
Being very psychic and always having some sort of connection with the unseen world. Whenever I would get out of school or get out of church, when I was surrounded by a bunch of people, I would immediately go into the backyard, and then there were woods further back, but I would sit under the trees. There were actually walnut trees, a lot of them in my backyard, and hawthorn trees, and getting quiet and just allowing the trees to wash all the chatter and all the negativity off of me. And actually, and I was doing this at 4 and 5 years old. I just always found it very refreshing. And something that's coming to mind is the tree bathing. I read an article that it's very popular in the Eastern philosophies. Like doctors in the East will prescribe people to go walk in the forest to help clear their mind and to release, negativity and to rebalance themselves. And here I am at 4 and 5 years old doing it because it was necessary for me to function and stay healthy because I'm very sensitive, and I could see, it was just very comforting and very refreshing. And I remember when I was probably 5, the first time that I was able to still my mind. And how the birds and the wildlife started to get closer to me. It's because I started raising my vibration to where I wasn't intrusive. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my real quick story with connecting with spirit, with plants and trees, and that I realized at a very early age that they are my allies. And if they are my allies, then I should treat them as such.
Mm.
Yeah.
Respect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a in our reference section on our YouTube page here. There's a video we did, another video we did with Julianne Payne leading us in a visualization technique for actually doing what beloved Astrak was just saying, is talking to the tree. It's actually, you're using visualization in such a way, and language in such a way, that it helps you to connect on a much deeper level with the tree spirit and the tree than just simply hugging it, which is a good way to connect as well. But it allows you to feel the energy of the tree within your own body. So as you're going through this visualization, it's almost like a guided meditation, but it stops just short of a meditation. We had people experimenting with it. We did 2 rounds of it, and one we did on the show live. And we were visualizing planting our toes into the ground and growing out our roots, reaching and growing
Mhm.
out our tree limbs, touching each other as part of a tree family. It just went on for, go check that show out, because if you really want to learn a really useful technique for connecting with the tree energy in a much deeper level, listen to that video and listen to Jules's visualizations, because they were fantastic. Fantastic.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Lori. Sorry.
Mhm. So the next question, do you talk to the animals or connect on a regular basis with animal spirit guides? And if so, what do they teach you? I know Dalibor connects with rabbits
Oh,
and
Rabbits.
yeah, definitely.
other,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my parents have they live in the woods. They have a house on the edge of a small village here in Germany. And so when I go outside to smoke or whatever, I'm constantly observing. There's like salamanders, there's deer, there's porcupines, of
Mhm.
course.
Mhm.
And like, as you said, I've always lived with a rabbit for
Mhm.
most of my life. I've had a couple of different rabbits or guinea pigs.
I
And
had a guinea pig.
yeah, they're incredibly cute.
Mhm.
They communicate in a kind of a childlike way. Uh, they don't communicate on the same level as an adult human. The way I've done it with my rabbits has always been in the form of a dream. And as a matter of fact,
Mhm.
in the last rabbit I had, when I first got him, I named him Paws, right? Kind of a standard name, right?
Mhm.
And I had a dream about him. I had a dream that I left him outside in the hallway where he didn't have any access to his food or his water.
Mm.
And I came up to him and he started speaking to me in this like small childlike voice. And he said, "Hello, Dalibor. Hello, Dalibor. My name is not Paws. My name is Cookie Shack.
Oh yeah,
My
that's
name
right.
is Cookie
Cookie
Shack.
Shack. I love
Cookie
that.
Shack." And he
Mhm.
kept repeating it, Cookie Shack, Cookie Shack.
Mm.
And I'm your
Cookie
friend,
Shack.
Cookie Shack.
Huh.
Oh,
And
wait, is that a meaning in your language, Cookie Shack?
it means small peking one. That's what it means.
And that's exactly what a rabbit is. I mean,
Yeah, a small peking creature.
wow.
So it woke me up out of the dream. I woke up in a cold sweat and I was like, "Oh my God, did I really lock him out in the hallway? I got to go make sure." So I went downstairs. The hallway was open, everything was open, and there he was sitting in the middle of the biggest couch I had. He was sitting there stiff as a statue, completely tensed up.
Hmm.
So I just came over to him and, I petted him on his back and I said, "Did you just have the same dream I had, Cookie Shack?" And the
Mhm.
minute I said Cookie Shack, he just relaxed. He relaxed and he
Wow.
was like
Wow.
completely normal. I've never experienced anything like that. And
That's a trip.
yes, I had, since then, I've had a couple of other dreams involving him where he speaks to me in the same exact childlike voice as that original time when I made that first connection. And I guess it's too much to get into on a show like this because it's kind of long and involved. But there's definitely a relationship, and I'm definitely a character in the story of his life, just as he
Mm.
is a character in the story of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's beautiful.
he's helped me in my personal
Yeah.
development, and I've helped him in his personal development. He told me, after he died, that he loved me,
Aw.
and yeah, yeah, and he even sent me like a consolation present because I had found this leather jacket, and I was thinking of him when I found it for some
Mm-hmm.
reason, and so I got it home. It was perfect for me, my size and everything. Nice leather jacket, brand new. And inside one of the pockets, there was a 50 euro banknote. And the other one, there was a train ticket for that was dated for the date that he died, which was 23/10/2010.
Oh,
Wow. He gave you a
wow.
And
gift.
it was for one adult and one child.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It's a special blessing to be accepted by a rabbit like that
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
rabbits, there's a reason why they represent fear. There's a
Well,
reason why they represent
it's a
intimidation.
forest creature.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah.
a timid creature because they're a prey animal.
Yeah.
Every predator out there wants to get their hands on a rabbit,
But it
right?
bonded with you and it made a
Yeah.
telepathic
Hmm.
connection because it felt comfortable in your presence.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of animals
Even on a
do.
subconscious level as well. So
Hmm.
that's amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of people who have animals tell me that they've never seen anything like it.
Mm.
Like for example, my next door neighbor, he had two huskies, right? And anytime I would come over, they would fall asleep at my feet, and he's like, I've never seen them do that with anybody else, never.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't
Cool.
know how I do it. I don't know. I just love animals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just that my preference is for the rabbit because
Mm-hmm.
I've always loved the forests, and the rabbit would be a quintessential forest creature.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like your totem animal as well, wouldn't you say,
Yeah,
Teresa?
I think
I
so.
would
Yeah.
say if whenever you want to call on the spirit of rabbit to help remind you that you don't need to have fear,
Hmm.
that you
Yeah.
don't need to be, it's actually the opposite. It gives you the ability to overcome fear and to overcome intimidation, but it has a
Sure.
gentleness about it and
Sure.
an inner
Because
child type quality. Have you ever heard those things scream? They sound just like an infant scream. Here
they
comes.
Mm-hmm.
do. They
Yes,
do.
they
Yeah.
do. Yes.
Hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I see rabbit as a very positive totem. Yeah,
Hmm.
especially if it's going to be the connection you had was long term.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Do you like the
And
photograph I sent you of this rabbit sitting on this guy's chest? The
oh
rabbit
yeah.
was as big as the whole man's torso.
Yes.
What
Yes.
the hell kind
Yeah.
of rabbit is that big?
That's a Flemish giant. That's
Mm.
a
Wow.
That's a Flemish giant. I had a dwarf rabbit. That was Kukishek was a dwarf rabbit.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
But
What a
the
cute
thing
name.
about rabbits is they symbolize prosperity,
Yep.
and one of the reasons is that
Yeah.
they can basically eat anything that's green, whether it's grass, whether it's moss, whether it's ferns, whether
Yeah.
it's and they have an instinct that tells them not to eat plants that are poisonous. They
Mm.
know that without anybody having ever taught them.
Yeah.
So
Aren't you Year of the Rabbit there, Delabor, as well?
no, you're the monkey.
Uh, oh, you're the monkey.
Monkey.
Yeah, you're the monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's great.
Oh.
That's great.
How about you, Grandpa Brian? Do you talk to the animals or connect on a regular basis with animal spirit guides?
Yes, I do. One of my animal spirit guides is the fox, which
Mm.
is observing, and I observe a lot. Uh, I've been fortunate. I've had a lot of pets. It's weird. Animals come up to me. I've had rabbits, squirrels, raccoons all come up to me. Down here at the cabin, there was a baby turkey out by the campfire.
Mm-hmm.
Kids were running around. I picked the turkey up. I set the turkey on the porch. The kids come running out of the cabin. The turkey comes running back and jumps in my arms.
Wow.
Hmm.
I had a hawk come onto the screen porch without gloves. I slowly worked my way towards it and knew I meant it no harm, and it allowed me to pick it up, walk to the door, and release it. 2 years ago, I had the hummingbird do the same thing. It allowed me to
Hummingbird.
walk up to it, pick it up. I walked to the door and released it, and that hummingbird flew off and then came right back to me. Same way with the hawk. I let the hawk go later that was in the spring, and in the fall, I see this huge shadow coming through the woods. This hawk lands on a limb 10 feet in front of me and stares at me for 10 minutes and then flies off. It was the same hawk coming back telling me thank you.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. I just have a connection with animals. Last weekend, Luna found a box turtle, if you know what those are. They're a little land turtle. So I put it on the table. So that way we were getting ready to leave because it was Monday, and that way I could put it back in the woods, and I knew she wouldn't mess with it. No matter where I put it out on the table, it walked right back to me. Don't know what I could put it on their side table, walk around the table, and sit down. That turtle would walk right across the table, right back to me.
Your vibration. It's the energy that you that you put off. Yeah.
And I think that's why animals feel comfortable around me, because I put out that love vibration. There's no fear, just sending good vibes out there, and they feel that, and they're attracted to it. When I go to the dog park, almost every dog, as soon as I walk in, they'll pass Luna to come to me.
Yeah, he's the dog whisperer. I saw that myself firsthand. I was with him.
That's
and every dog in that park were hanging out with Brian. Not anybody else. They're hanging out with Brian. It's interesting because yes, you do. You're an animal nature spirit yourself. I mean, you have within you, because you were a tree. I know that with Jules and me.
Oh yes.
But we share 90, anywhere from 84% to 94% of our human genome, our DNA, is shared with different dog species, fox and wolf being one of them. And fox comes to you as a protector.
Yep.
So it's not only clever and intelligent, it's very much a protector energy for you. And you're surrounded with that. So as a former tree, you bonded with various animals in the forest. And so fox energy is very strong in you. Yeah, and those other animals just jive with you, kind of like Dalibor and the rabbit bonding. That's fascinating.
Yeah,
you have hawk in there too. I find that very interesting. I also have hawk.
Yeah, I also made friends with a whole family of wild rabbits that lived in the woods behind my house.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I left next year, I actually made friends with only one of the rabbits. I was feeding it and everything, and I was able to get intimate enough where I was petting him and everything, even though he was completely wild. And the next year, long after I left, the owner of the house, he said, "Oh, imagine this! I had this one rabbit come that I've seen come around all the time. He came around with like a whole family of like 10 tiny little rabbits." And a mother rabbit. he brought his whole family over to meet me. Yeah.
Coming over for some potluck, huh?
Yeah.
The buffet is open.
Yeah, that's great. Amazing.
Hey, Brian. It says, where are you under the ferns, becoming the forest, so I can learn? Are you watching invisible to me? Fox trying to teach me to become a tree? I just say, that's really cool. That's very cool. Oh, Sophie, I'm dying to hear your.
Yeah, Sophia.
The animals that I connect with would definitely be the deer, the elk, the any songbird, but specifically the red-winged blackbird, the robin, the red-tailed hawk, any kind of crow, raven, definitely ravens, 100%. I connect with coyote and wolf energy, and just about any intention that I have had the unique ability to call just about anything forward, to commune, learn, connect. But I feel that my primary connection is with birds, because I have allowed and developed my skills as a messenger. And I feel that birds are messengers,
Mm-hmm.
by nature. So I would say definitely the birds and the elk and the deer would be the ones that I connect with the most.
Nice.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I have, there is a difference between animal spirit that are random. They're not necessarily consistent. They come into your life at various different times. And they don't necessarily hang out. You don't always see them repetitively, but they come across your path when you're in a specific way, or you're having troubles, or you're having thoughts about certain things, and they can bring you wisdom. Then there are those that are called totem medicine spirits. And they're more closely related to, because you can invoke them and have them as part of your structure, which is what I've done. But they're very closely related to the concept of a familiar that you'll find in pagan practices and traditions, Celtic practices, and also witchcraft. Um, but they are, uh, and there's various ways to tap into those energies. There's polarity in everything, folks.
Mm-hmm.
But I connect with white wolf, monkeys of any kind. The orange, reddish brown corn snake is one of my totems. The owl, any kind of owl. The ornate hawk eagle. And the hawk eagle is a hybrid between the hawk and the eagle in the terms of their energies. And when they're combined, they're very powerful. So I combine them, and I will see them in a dream or a vision, and sometimes I will encounter them in the woods. But the ornate hawk eagle is not something indigenous to my area. So those are the ones I see in visions. The red squirrel, right here in my own backyard, followed me home from the lake, got in my car and would not get out of it. So I had to bring him home with me. And he's been living behind me in the trees behind me for the past 3 years.
Doesn't he
Almost
have a
4
little
years
family now too?
now he has a little family. He had kids last year. It was so cute. I'm feeding them all little peanuts.
That's
But
awesome.
he's a red squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
A honey-colored bear is my favorite kind of bear, and Lori knows that. And I have all kinds of bears that I interact with in my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I've only encountered brown bears in West Virginia and black bears, so I've actually had some encounters with those, and I've had zoo exposure in zoos and things like that. But the honey bear is my favorite, and there's actually turns out a spiritual. I looked it up, and that there really is a spiritual connection there, and I didn't realize it before. Lions and the aquatic diamondback terrapin turtle. Now, the lion walks on my right side, the turtle walks with me on my left. They're two very different types of energy that I connect with. Uh, the Each and every one of us actually has within our spiritual makeup the ability to connect with up to 9 of these at one time in a totem. Like, you can follow the indigenous people's practices, you can look them up, you can find it in the medicine card book, so you can assign yourself through pulling tarot cards. But the thing is that it's not a practice I prefer. These animals took a long time to come to me. It took years to build the relationship that I have. They select you, you don't go finding them. And once they select you, you can then establish a rapport and then ask them um, if they will be part of your system. And that's what I've done. So, in each one of these, if you look them up, has very specific spiritual.
Yeah.
They've come to me in times of trouble, times of sorrow, times of joy. The monkey is my joy guide. So
speaking of tarot, Sophia,
Yeah.
do you have an opportunity to pull some cards there.
Yeah. Put him.
You're on mute. Don't forget you're on mute there. There we
There
go.
we go.
Uh-huh.
Test, test.
She also wants to share how she connects directly to Earth Mother. So,
Oh, yeah. Which one do you
Go
want
ahead.
first?
Go ahead and do the cards first, and we'll go back to that. It's all good.
Okay. So
I
the
saw you
one,
shuffling.
yeah, the flower magic deck is the
Mhm.
one. It's an oracle deck, but I also have the tarot. But the one
Mhm.
that came forward was actually death and transformation, and that really hit home with me these past week. But I would say with the death card, and I'm finding it because I shuffled, but that's the one that really resonated. Let's see if it'll come back out. For me, death is a comma, not a period, and life is cyclical.
Mhm.
So when we allow something to be released, that means, in my interpretation, that something higher and better will take its place. And that helps me accept, the shifts that can be difficult to navigate. Let's see what other card. Come on, these are
And
big.
endings. Yeah, the ending of something.
Yeah, because we're
Mhm.
not, nothing is meant to be here forever, I guess.
Nope.
Save bacteria, like
Yeah,
teleport. I
right.
mean,
definitely
Bacteria.
back
And some
to it. Yeah.
spores.
yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see. Holy crap! Of course, I pick a flower I can't pronounce. Yay! I think this is. I know, right? I think this is Campanula. Um, it's it means speaking out, and I love the purple.
Campanula?
There we
Mhm.
go. Thanks, dude. I
Campanula.
love the
That
Yeah.
was
purple
me.
because thanks, Lori.
Mhm.
The purple is connecting with the violet of the crown chakra. So I would say when you're connecting with your totems and looking for your spirit guides and companions to commune with, quieting the mind and connecting and allowing yourself to be a part of something, to speak out,
Mm.
speak your intention to the
Mhm.
universe. What do you want to manifest? What do you want to bring into your life? What do you want to release? Because if you release something to keep honor balance, you need to replace it with something of equal measure. So speaking out your intentions, because words have power. So I feel that that's a very important card for this segment of A7, is remembering to speak your
Mhm.
intention and then follow it with your action. And then hopefully this is a semi scantily clad deck. So hopefully we won't get a half naked. Okay, here we go. Well, that's kind of funny. I'll do a loincloth here because we got
Okay.
a bare butt going on there. But
Okay.
it's the death card. I
Yeah.
mean, it's, and a lot of people think death and they're like, well, no,
Mhm.
it's death is does not favor a person. It doesn't matter how much you have or how much you've given. We all have a beginning and we all have an end. And it's
Mhm.
what we
Right, Lucky.
do, it's
Mhm.
what we do with the dash, you know. We never know when we're going to go. And that's why I love with intensity. That's why I accept people for who they are, but how they treat me is what kind of scenery they get, you know.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
just the death card is so powerful, and it actually resonates with the rune Iwas, which is the axis, which is the tree of life. So
Mhm.
just staying in between mercy and severity, because it's a choice.
Mhm.
But and how do I connect with mother? Well, that connection has metamorphosed, kind of like transformation and death, over time. Um, at first, I would ground like a tree and get my connection that way. And then when I became more active as a medium and a psychic and helping people, I required a different kind of fueling. So I call it grounded, centered, and balance. I ground through my minor chakras and the palms of my hands and the arches of my feet. And I connect to that spinning ball of nickel. And it's very helpful to be connected to the core, the heart of the earth, because we have parasitic, unbalanced people that are evolving. And sometimes they'll see somebody who's doing really good and then you'll get zapped. They just drain your energy. Well, when I started doing that consciously, and it's a opening work, closing work situation. It's kind of like brushing your teeth, but energetically. Um, but they'll pull off of Mother Gaia instead of pulling off of my energy, which I'm compliment. It's a compliment. Yeah, you want what I
Right.
got, right on. Get
Mm-hmm.
it where I'm getting it from. And then, in addition to grounding through my minor chakras, I center. And when I center, I use the Kundalini energy, the primary chakras. I start up and connect from the earth and
I
then
do that
connect to
too.
the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bring it back down, bring the universe down through my chakras and then
Yep.
back into
Right.
the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's centered. So I'm grounded through my minor chakras. I'm centered through my major chakras and then balanced. If you guys know what the symbol Libra looks like, or Libra, depending on your book and your teacher,
Mm-hmm.
it reminds me of either a rising or for me a setting sun. So I imagine that going across the middle of my chest and then over the top of my head. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's shielding and other things, but that's how I connect to Mother Gaia. As far as energetically, how I honor Mother Gaia is by being mindful of what I'm buying. Can I buy something different, that's not going to be so insulting? Can I recycle it? you know
Mm-hmm.
can I carpool? Do I have an echo button on my vehicle? So yeah, we have our culture and what we're doing, but when you're mindful of how you're impacting this planet, reciprocity would be like, well, then Mother Gaia is like,
Mm-hmm.
wait a minute, she really cares, about me, because we have millions of people that are mindlessly, throwing batteries in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
Take them there. If you go to your city, it's called a tox drop site. Okay. Instead of putting your batteries in the trash, because we all know we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tox drop site. Put them where they belong so people can reuse them. We don't want to be drinking this shit 100 years from now. But just being mindful and communing with this beautiful, magnificent, gorgeous planet that we have a privilege to reside on. I mean, look at the crystals that we
Mm-hmm.
pull out of this planet. She's magnificent. And just taking a little bit of time to be like, what can I do to be kinder, has really created a relationship between me and Mother Gaia, because we
Mm-hmm.
are all connected,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I do, and that's part of it anyway. But I'll put my
Some
soapbox
early.
back.
Thank you so much for that, Sophia. I was waiting to hear
Mm-hmm.
that because that's you know um, way back when. Lots of times before I guess around the same time people were connecting with the tree spirits, dryads. They would often have Mother Nature as a dryad or connected to trees because trees have the capacity to absorb a lot of negative energy. And so a lot of people feel hesitant. They say, oh, we're not treating Mother very well if we're sending all of our negative energy into Earth. That's not a nice way to treat Earth.
She can handle
But
it.
that's what Earth is there. That's part of her
Mm-hmm.
function, is to help us with that cleansing. So, and one of the ways she does that is through the plant and trees, and mostly the trees because the trees are so deeply rooted. and they have a way of uh, working an alchemy, if you will, on that energy, turning it back into something positive. When it's activated with water, which is renewal, and the sun's energy, which is coming from source energy. So between the sun's energy and the water, they have a renewal. I'm losing my headsets here soon.
Mhm. Not
Um,
only not only that though, Teresa, it's you if you're going to have a future lifetime, don't you want to leave the planet in the best way you can for your future
yes,
self?
yes, absolutely.
So poisoning her or taking, these fluids and all the things and resources out of the earth doesn't really help us
Hmm.
in the future. So we've got to find a way to make that
That
a
was
better.
kind of what I was getting at. Lucky's like, if I'm here
Mhm.
100,
Yeah.
or no,
Mhm.
Grumpy said that. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, because I believe in reincarnation. So, I mean, it's kind of a pay it forward
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
situation.
But something to be consciously aware of, I think.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Every little bit helps.
Mm.
Every little bit helps.
You know,
Sure does.
the earth provides each and every one of us with just about every resource we need. Just as your human mother used to provide you with breakfast and nutrients and can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Um, so the earth. Let me see if I can still hear you. Say something to me.
Okay. Can you hear us?
No.
You can't hear us.
Oh, bummer.
It's
We're
okay.
So
We're
anyway,
coming to
I'll
we're
let
coming to the end
Lori
of the
wrap
show
things up
here.
with
Yeah.
everybody. I
Yeah.
just wanted to say that
Go ahead and
Earth
make your comment.
Mother um, is a fuel. Yeah, it's a life-giving source to us, and she nurtures us, and um, that's why she's often seen as a goddess or experienced as a goddess um, in pagan traditions. And people think she was the creator of this planet that we're on, that she's the Sophia, or that, and she's been given so many different names in so many different traditions. Who's to say what's what? It all depends on what you sync with. But I see her as the counterpart of the creative energy that happened between the sun and the moon. And the offspring was this planet so that we could come into it and materialize and experience that structure. So, from my perspective, Earth was created through that sun and moon merging, and we are the humans are part of the occupants of that, as well as every other nature animal. So, just keep that in mind because it's a way of understanding and respecting who we are in terms of how we fit within nature itself. We
Mhm.
are brothers and sisters of all the plants and the animals and all the creatures,
Yeah.
and they're here to help guide us. And we have had a manifestate. We've had incarnations as those before, so they're part of the Akashic record,
Mhm.
just every bit as much as an advanced master or an angelic.
Mhm.
So they're
Yeah.
all the same energies. And one last thought, and I had this conversation with Lori: as above, so below. So our consciousness projects. We were projecting out all the time so that we could make these connections to experience different aspects of ourselves, to get to know ourselves within the matter. But likewise, in the cosmic, the higher versions of ourselves and those energies are in the astral, and they're projecting into this earth matter that energy as well. So the two are coming together and meshing. And so everything that we are and experience is a meshed experience. What you pick and choose to vibrate with is entirely up to you. Nobody tells you what to do. It's where your heart leads you. Not so much the mind, but your heart. And that's how you make these connections, is through the heart. So anyway, I've said enough and I'll just let Lori wrap it up. Sorry, Lori.
It's all good. I did want to give the group an opportunity to just have some final thoughts, and I thought Delabor, we'll start with you. Final
Well, I
thoughts.
would address that last question, like, how do I connect with Mother Earth?
Mm-hmm.
Well, by being as down to earth as possible.
I
By
like
keeping
that.
my feet planted firmly on the ground, by keeping my nose to the grindstone, so to speak, In other words, I'm not building castles in the air,
Mm-hmm.
but pretty much a hardcore realist in many ways. I spend my whole day barefoot, despite the
Oh.
fact that it's not like I go out or anything like that. But
Mm-hmm.
just the fact that I'm barefoot all day,
You're
um,
connected.
I'm connected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anytime you take a shower, you're actually making a deeper connection with the earth because you're covering your entire body with water, and that
Mm-hmm.
water comes from the earth. Therefore,
Mm-hmm.
you're grounding yourself. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
also doing that with my plants. And I discovered this, I read about it, that if you can't connect your plants with the earth directly, what you can do is you can plant like a copper rod, like a quarter-inch thick copper rod, into the soil next to the roots, and that'll pretty much do the same thing, and it works. It
Mm-hmm.
works remarkably well for my house plants that I have here, and I have one lemon tree, about six aloe plants, um, and a whole host of decorative plants and so forth. So yeah, that's my way of connecting with the earth.
Nice. I like it. How about you, Grandpa Brian? How do you make your connection to the earth? And how does exchanging energy with her help you? And final thoughts on top of that.
It just depends on what my intent is.
Mm-hmm.
I always take my shoes off or sit on the ground. That is the best way to ground yourself and get to connected with Mother Earth. Uh, some rituals, like my full moon rituals, I'll actually get into the lake, cleanse myself. I have a campfire going there. I have four candles set up where I sit down on the ground. I'm taking deep breaths, so I'm actually taking in all the elements. I have the fire behind me. I've been in the water. I'm connected to earth. And you wouldn't believe how open you become when you can make a connection like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
I
amazing.
Yeah, it is. I kind of do the same thing in that I love to spend about 20, 25 minutes in the morning sitting in the sun and just connecting with the sun. And just like Dalibor said, with the shower and the water, cleaning
Hmm.
and cleansing your aura. I also like to program my cup with things. I'm the light, I am the love, I am the truth, I am. So I like to
Hmm.
program my water, things like that. So yeah, it is amazing how you can just connect to it instantly by just being in the presence of that energy and just really feeling it and absorbing it.
It's
Yep.
Yeah.
beautiful. It's a beautiful process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, hey,
Uh,
Lauren,
yeah.
can you tell folks a little bit about that video you sent me about the ants and how they
Oh,
built an underground?
yeah. I forget what this was at. I came across the video, and what they had done, there was a huge structure, in-ground structure of an ant hill, and it was massive. And what they did is they actually pumped it with tens of thousands of gallons of concrete and completely filled it. And then after they filled it and it hardened, they dug the dirt around it to get an idea of the structure that they made. And architecturally speaking, was every bit as complicated as a human architect would be, creating something that nature had already done, um,
Yeah.
in just its knowing and just being who it was. And it
Hmm.
was a massive structure, but man, tens of thousands of gallons of concrete. And then to see the little pods and the little connections and everything too, it was just fascinating.
It was an underground city,
Yeah, yeah. And it was massive,
Hmm.
and
huge.
we
And I
had been
thought, who
talking
thinks
about.
these things up? Who
Oh,
thinks about putting concrete down there and seeing what it looks like?
Hmm.
It was
an engineer,
spectacular. Yeah, yeah, right. Or an architect.
but it looked a lot like you
Hmm.
would. Uh, one of those underground tunnels in is it Peru,
Sure.
where they lived, where
Yeah.
humans lived in these tunnel systems, and they
Mm-hmm.
had chambers. Some
Yep.
chambers were
Yep.
chapels, and
They had, intricate systems for
yeah,
allowing the oxygen to come in, all kinds of stuff. It was really something. If you ever get a chance to
yeah,
just look it up, concrete ant, it'll all pop up for you. But yeah, fascinating stuff.
Hmm.
yeah.
Um,
Anyway,
Sophia, final thoughts for you, my dear?
Final thoughts.
Mhm.
I would say the more people that are mindful about their impact on the world around them, that
Mhm.
Mother will be more mindful of you.
Mhm.
Putting yourself in a position to be receptive, like GB was saying and Delabore is saying, you guys are saying,
Mhm.
go outside.
Mhm.
Do it safely, take all the precautions, but just take your shoes off in a safe place, protect yourself because we're in tick season,
Mhm.
right? Do it safely, and meditate. We're all connected, so whatever frequency and intensity we're vibrating at, it's like shouting into a cave. You're going to get
Yeah.
an echo. What you send out is what you're going to get back. If you want
Mm.
connection, make the intention to connect.
Mhm.
And it's like building over time. Don't expect one yell, to get a flood of information, but purposing
Work
to
it like a
be.
muscle. Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. And,
Mhm.
and
yeah.
it'll happen. And I mean, if you guys want to shoot me an email and chitty chat about it, I'm cool. Birdinthewilderness@yahoo.com. It's been up
Awesome.
there plenty of times. It's on my business cards.
And
Just
it's
chat.
in the
Want
description
to
as
connect.
well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in the description. Yeah.
There's another video I think in the description too that you can check into. It was a fairy garden party that was going on in Australia that we all tapped into. We had a live feed into Jules and Mandy
Mhm.
Moo.
That was a
And
lot of fun.
that was a lot of fun, and we were
Mhm.
wearing fairy costumes, but we were showing the cultural differences and understandings of those elementals and how to connect with them,
Mhm.
and taking pictures of them and different types of moths that look like fairies, that look like little humans, and types of plants that look like fairies and humans. You could plant those things in your gardens to give you a feel of connection with that element. There's all sorts of things, and if any of you wants a copy of those four um, um, elements that we showed you
Mhm.
with all the interrelations, just let me know, and I'll send you an email with those that you can have them,
Mhm.
and then you can have fun looking up like I did all the
Yeah.
different traditions and what I was doing my best to match them up to those charts. But you might find others that I never found,
Mhm.
but it's quite astonishing and a real eye opener.
Yeah.
I was just flabbergasted. I did not know. I never
Mm.
realized those
Mhm.
interconnections.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting information tonight. You pulled it all together. Really
Yeah.
good. It's really important to remember too that, we are all connected, but not just, humans are all connected, but the planets, the plants, everything in the universe. We seriously are all citizens of the universe. So
Yeah.
when you look at
Mhm.
things that way, we are one, we are many. Um, I think that's really important to remember. And
Robert Bauer had a show last night, as you know, 9 o'clock last night. So go take a look at the Nexus Next Cast. It's just a podcast. He was interviewing Tom Blue Wolf, and this man. They were talking about nature as well. And one of the things that they were saying is our capacity, the way we use language and the way we describe things, really impacts how we treat one another and how nature, how we're going against, we're basically going against the nature of things when we phrase things in certain ways. And they're not helpful, they're not gratitude, they're not appreciative, they're not loving, caring, and to come from that heart space. Nature, I believe, is what fuels that heart. Because as we were created through nature, that's where people say, "Oh no, our heart is from the sun." Well, yeah, it is. That's the polar opposite of it. But if you could take the sun energy that's coming in with the Earth's energy and find that toroidal that toroidal field of connectedness and start talking about things and about Earth in positive ways, not all the nasty things that are going on, but all the beauty that we just set aside and take for granted. and incorporate that into our language, we become yet another branch of the tree of nature itself, and we bring that back to the table. So part of your grounding exercises can be learning how to use language in a different way when we're talking to people. I'm trying it here within my own family. You know, the way in which we treat others, um, the way Mother treats us. So, you know, we can be the frequency we want to receive, they say. Be the frequency of nature and feel that in your heart. And that would be what I would share with you because it's working for me and I hope it works for you too.
Ditto. You got it. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. Thanks, panel. Appreciate you all for being here. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Thank you to everybody in chat, those who will see it in the future, those who are in the background just quietly watching. Thank you so much for your support and love. We really appreciate it. And this is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
We're not here to make money. It's not about money. It's about sharing what we've learned and what we know and passing on the wisdom and the knowledge. So on that note, we'll say goodnight to everyone. And thanks again for everyone being here. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Later.
Peace and love, everybody.
Bye.
Peace and love. Take care.